Hello viewers, I'm Saroja Gullapalli and I live in Melbourne, Australia. I'm an engineer by profession and I'm a former senior corporate professional from a multinational organization. We all know Bhagavad Gita. What was the scene setting of Bhagavad Gita? This is a conversation between Mahabaho. Who was Mahabaho? Arjuna. He was called Mahabaho because he was the strongest person of the time. And who was he having conversation with? Lord Shri Krishna. So as you know, Bhagavad Gita is a conversation between Shri Krishna and Arjuna. Have you ever thought, what is the deeper meaning about this conversation? That's why I started this topic about the body material and the spirit material. The Bhagavad Gita conversation is not going on in the battle of Kurukshetra. The battle of Kurukshetra is within. Who is Mahabaho then? Who is that Arjuna? You and I are the Arjuna who believe that we are this body material. Then who is Lord Krishna? Lord Krishna is the super conscious nature inside who is trying to remind you every day, every minute that you are not the body material. You are the divine material. So that Shri Krishna is within you, and that Arjuna is that stupid we who always think that we are the body, not the soul. So if you ever come across Bhagavad Gita, stop visualizing the picture of Arjuna on his knees and Krishna on the chariot. That may be so to depict on a book, but the true conversation for a spiritual master, Bhagavad Gita starts within, not somewhere outside in Kurukshetra. So starting from the discussion about how we hold to our body material, if I can remind you, where did Bhagavad Gita start? Bhagavad Gita started with Vishada Yoga and then it moved on to Sankhya Yoga. What is Vishada Yoga? Why did a great warrior like Arjuna had to go through Vishada Yoga? My dear friends, let me explain you what the term Vishada is. Vishada means dukkha. Dukkha means sadness. Let's have some analogy with our own self. That's why I picked this beautiful example of Bhagavad Gita. Though Arjuna was a warrior, though he had fought many battles before Kurukshetra battle, you think Kurukshetra was the first battle for Arjuna? No. Before Kurukshetra, Arjuna had fought many battles. But how come in Kurukshetra, when the real battle started, the Vishada Yoga started? This is exactly what I wanted to come to, my dear friends. The attachment with your body, thinking that you are the body, that is the mistake even Arjuna did. That is why the Vishada started. When you understand that you are not the body material, you are the soul material, that is the end of Vishada Yoga. But it took 18 chapters for Sri Krishna to give that Atma and Anatma Viveka. What is Viveka? Viveka is wisdom. Lord Krishna had to spend 18 chapters to explain Arjuna that what he was thinking was not ahimsa. We all know. Arjuna was saying, I do not want to fight because I do not want bloodshed. That wasn't the reason why Arjuna did not want to fight. Arjuna was in Vishada Yoga because of Aham and Mama. What is Aham and Mama, my dear friends? That is where the beautiful topic of ego opens up. What is ego? In Sanskrit we call it Aham. Arjuna was in the clasp of Aham. Why? Because there are 3 characteristics of ego, my dear friends. It's a very good topic and I really want to go a little bit deeper into it before I start explaining, because this is not the story of Arjuna and Krishna. This is the story of you and me in our day-to-day life. There are 3 main characteristics of ego which even Arjuna got into the clasp of. The sense of self, the sense of I and mine. In Sanskrit, we call it the sense of Aham and Mama, me and mine. Anytime a person has this kind of a feeling that this is me, this is mine, that person can never move forward. So where did Arjuna have this feeling? Arjuna's problem was in the battlefield, on the other side, the people were mine, Bhishma Pitamaha, Krupacharya, Dronacharya. They all belonged to him. So he had a feeling that I have my relationships on the other side, so how can I fight? But what was he doing? It was taking it off the cover of ahimsa. The super consciousness Krishna who lives within us, doesn't he know? That's the straight example of how ego can really shade your kartavya, your responsibility, your duty. So where does this ego come from and how we can get rid of? It's very, very interesting, my dear friends. As I said, ego has three characters. Number one, sense of I and mine. Unconscious nature. What does that mean? Unconscious nature means the person in the grip of ego doesn't even know that he is under the grip of ego. That's called unconscious nature. The person is totally unconscious of his behavior. The third characteristic of ego is the conditioning from the past. So where does this ego come from? This ego comes from centuries and centuries. Why do I say? Because generation from generation to generation, this is how we have passed it on. What have we passed on? It's called conditioning. This is what our parents gave to us, and that's what they got it from their parents. So this aham, this ego is not something that has developed overnight. It is something that has come from parampara to parampara, generation to generation. So my dear friends, always remember, when you remember what those characteristics are, the solution of getting out of the ego is also hidden in that. So when I was saying those three characteristics, the second characteristic, if you remember, what did I say? I said unconscious behavior. The moment you are conscious that you are working under the ego, bingo. The awareness, the thought that you know that you are under the ego will release you from the ego. There's nothing more to do, my dear friends. So what's the solution? Every so on, if not every 5 minutes, maybe every 10 minutes, maybe every hour. It's not a bad idea for an individual to go within and check. What are you checking? You're checking three things. You're checking your thoughts. You're checking your words. You're checking your actions. Very important. And what are you checking for? You're checking if your thoughts, words, or action are being done from a field of ego. Very important. The moment you realize you're operating from ego, you will get out of ego. That is the only solution. I always share this story with my friends. If you ask my friends, I'm a very good storyteller because I believe that most of the concepts can be passed on and remembered if they are told in story format. You won't remember anything I said, but mark my words, you'll remember my story. So let me share with you a beautiful story which I always talk when I talk about ego. So in Melbourne where we live, we have a beautiful pond, and for the last 20-30 years, I'm so used to taking my children to the pond, and we have a lot of ducks there. So we used to go with a packet of bread and feed the ducks. It's lovely to see the ducks coming for the piece of bread. But there's also one thing I noticed. When we come to the end of this bread pack, all we have is a small one. And when you throw that, there are more than one ducks who are aiming for the last piece of bread. And ducks are very ferocious when they come for food. And I always used to notice how 6 or 7 ducks would race forward to get that one piece of last bread. And they make a lot of noise. And for a moment you think they're going to kill each other. But no, my dear friends. One of them will get the bread piece. The others will make a lot of noise. But guess what happens after that? They flap their wings rigorously. All the emotions, pent up emotion is released. And then when you see on the pond, all the ducks are floating away calmly, quietly in their own direction. I was amazed by this phenomena. Till that point of time, they're all angry at each other. Emotions are building up because they all want that piece of bread. Then where did the emotion go after that?
the beings, the animals have their own way of releasing toxins. The animals and the birds, they do realize that if they hold emotions for too long, what happens? It turns into diseases. I don't have to explain, most of you might know that the blocks that we form in our emotional body, which is our Manomaya Kosha, that reflects on our Pranamaya Kosha and then reflects in the form of diseases in our Annamaya Kosha. Even the animals realize that if you hold emotions for too long, it's not going to do any good for their body. So they have devised a mechanism where they flap their wings rigorously to let the pent-up emotions go away. And once that's happened, my dear friends, what happens? There is no anger left. And the ducks are floating away happily in different directions. Even if two birds or two ducks came across later, they're not going to kill each other, because for them, past is past. So there are two key things here. Let me address the first one. The first one is the way the animals have adopted to release the emotions. But if I extrapolate this a little bit further, if the ducks had a human mind, how would they react? The first part would be the same. Those 5 ducks would come running to get the last piece of bread. One of them would get the bread piece. What would happen to the others? The other 4, for the next 4 months, would be quacking along on the pond saying, "Oh my God, that particular duck ate my bread. I'm never going to forgive him. Last time did the same thing. I don't know when he's going to stop it. Next time when he does that, I'm not going to let him." Each one of the duck would be saying this day after day after day, 3 months after the incident. This is how we human beings are. So what happens as a result of that? Whenever you think about an incident, the emotions associated with that incident regenerates in your body. So you are recreating that scene again and again and again. So the hormones that come out, the chemicals that you develop when you are sad, keeps regenerating again and again because you are rewinding the incident. Of course you will have issues. Of course you will have emotional blocks. That is the result why the human species has got so many problems today. And they do appear on the physical level. But as we all know, where is the root? The root is at different level. It's only the physical level, the manifestation of the disease is coming along. It is so important, my dear friends, to understand or to remind yourself. You know what I have done? I have taken a big piece of paper and stuck it on my study. You know what does it say? Flap your wings like a duck. Because it reminds me that after every incident that happens in my life, where the emotions build up, whenever I look at flap the wings, I remember this particular example. So many times, without my knowledge, I'm doing this. People might think I'm crazy. But now you guys know. If you see me flapping my wings anywhere, you understand what the story behind. So I would encourage each one of you to flap your wings whenever possible. Because you have no idea what ego can do. If ego could take Arjuna into Vishada Yoga, imagine what ego can do for you and me, my dear friends. So I think we'll stop at this point. Next time we'll come with another concept and we'll share and care for each other. Thank you very much.